How should you refactor your SwiftUI views? In this video, I'm going to show you how I approach refactoring my own views into either properties to make the code above read easier, or to make them reusable views that I can use in other screens. Hey, what's up? This is Paul Solt from Super Easy Apps. Let's dive right into the tutorial. Okay, so after the last tutorial, I like where we got to, but I wanted to show you how I like to refactor my SwiftUI views a little bit because I just didn't have time in that video. And so I like to be able to have the top level body read a little bit easier. And so that means extracting things into properties. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go into the focus mode here, and I'm going to open up a new editor with the Option key and clicking on Login View. And then I'm going to also focus that one with Command Enter. And once I do that, I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to put my views right here. We're just going to do a mark views. And then we'll start putting some views down here. So I'm going to have a, let's see, we're going to have our name text field, our email text field, and our password text field. So that's all I'm going to call them, name text field. And this is going to be some view. So this is how you can extract that logic. And all we're going to do is cut this logic and then paste it right here. I can then insert here, and we're just going to call this name text field, and then we're good to go. We'll do the same exact thing. We'll cut this logic, and we are going to create a new variable called the email text field. It's going to be some view, paste that in, clean that up, and now we can just do email text field. And then we'll do the last one. And I think if I was on Sequoia, we might start getting some suggestions about some of this stuff. But I'm not. So I'll have to load up that and see how it works. So this is our password text field. This is a secure field. We could just call it password field, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be some view. This is just so I can sort of find the things and see the structure a little bit better. And so then I'll put that password secure field. And then we can also do the same thing with this button. So let's go ahead and create a button var. Call this the create account button. Paste that logic in, and then we'll have another markdown here, and this is for methods. Okay, so doing that, we can then have our button right here. And you can sort of see the structure a little bit easier. So I like this. This makes this a lot easier to read. And we should be able to run this, and it should still work. I thought I clicked on that, but I totally did not click on that. That's because we still have the on up here right now working. That just makes it easier to demo. So one other thing that you could do is we've got a lot of reused, we've got a lot of duplicate code. And so this is where, like, if you're working on a style guide for your application, for the company that you're working for, or for your own application, you might want to reuse some of this functionality and create your own custom text field. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to do that by, I'm just going to copy the start of this. And I think we can go up to right about here. This is all going to be like extra customizations for the actual thing. I want to include this one. Okay, so let's go down to the bottom, and I'll show you a new way of creating files once we do this, but we're just going to create this inline. And so this is just going to look like, we'll call it a custom text field. So it's going to be a structure, custom text field, and this is going to be a view. We're going to have a body. And then in here, we're going to need to use some bindings to make this functional. So let's go ahead and let's paste this code right now as a placeholder. And what I'm going to have to do is I need to know the text that we're going to display here, the text that we're going to bind here. I need to know what the name is for the focus. This might give us a problem. I haven't been able to get the focus field to work if it's inside another construct. So it might not work cross. I'm just going to move that down here in case we have to pull that out. And so we've got this that needs to be abstracted. This needs to be abstracted. Auto capitalization. This is specific to this one. So this one probably has to come back up top. I'll bring these two down here. We'll just have a divide here. So we're essentially trying to sort of clean up some of this logic and this tap gesture. Okay, so down here, I'm just going to comment this one out because I really don't think that's going to work. You can play around with it and let me know if it does work. And let's go ahead and create a binding. This is going to allow us to have that text field have text input. I'm just going to call it text to keep it generic so that we can reuse this for other use cases. I'm going to have a placeholder. That's a string. I'm going to have the focus, which is the current focus of this, which is going to be a login focus. And the last thing that I need here is the focused field. That's only if I want to bind this. I don't want to do that because it didn't seem to work. So I'm going to omit that for right now. All right, so if we're doing this, then we can just go ahead and put placeholder right here, and then we can bind to our new text field. And then our focused field is going to be the focus that we pass in. Oh, no, I lied. We do need this here. So then we're going to have focused state. This can be a var focused field. And this is a login focus question mark because it's optional. Okay, so once we have that, we can come back up top and then all of this. So this is logic to help with the tapping. This is stylizing. This is preventing auto correction on names. We also don't want auto correction on emails. So I think like having that for both makes sense. So we're just going to replace this now with our custom text field. And we're going to pass a binding to the view model that we have. And that's going to be our user validator. And this is going to be our name. And then the placeholder is going to be just name. And the focus is going to be this focus, which is .name, and then the focus field is we're passing in the focus field. Now, I've seen different ways of passing this. This is the only way that compiles in Xcode 16. So let's just double check that we did this correctly. I probably typed something wrong here. Focus states. Cannot use. We also need our initializer. Okay, let's read over this because I'm not sure exactly why this doesn't work. And so for this, I think we have to use the underscore since it's a binding. Oh, okay, I think I see the problem here. It's not auto creating this as a binding. And I'm going to force it to be a binding. Okay, so now it's going to complain that I'm not passing a binding. And there we go. All right, so a little bit of jumping around. As you can see, some binding stuff is really easy to get mixed up. So let's walk through what we did here. I'm going to just focus with a keyboard shortcut. Not to be confused with focus. Okay. So now we've taken out some of the redundant code, and then we can just focus on, no pun intended, the things that are going to be unique. Now this one, I swear that it was not working. We can try it as just a demo, but once I had this working, it was just not working. We're going to pass in the focus here. And it was just skipping. Okay. Next up, we're just going to migrate the other one. So what do I need here? I need this one. I'm going to turn this off for right now. This is all going to get fixed. I'll just separate that so I can see the difference. This is customization. Auto correction is going to be handled. And then here, we'll be able to take that out and just do custom text field. We give it a binding of user validator dot email. We give it a placeholder, which is just going to be email. We give it a focus, which is going to be email. And then we give it the focused field. And if we go ahead and run this, I had issues where it wouldn't auto advance. So right now it's failing. The next button is failing. That was the issue that I had. For some reason, the name one seems to work, and it goes to password. I don't know if there's like a conflict with the name here. The only solution I had was to keep this focused in here and not put that down at the bottom in our extracted logic. So this causes next button fails to advance. We run this one more time and go through it. And then if I hit next, it goes to the next text field, next, continue, and that works. So for whatever reason, I just couldn't get that aspect to work. I think it would make sense, but I think there's some kind of magic going on where it might need to be within the same view. All right, so now that we have that, let me show you another trick, is we can extract all this logic into a new file. So if I just Command X to remove this from here, and then we come over to Navigator, click anywhere in Navigator, and then if we paste, there actually is no paste option. We just do a Command V, we'll get a brand new file with that custom text field. We can do import SwiftUI, boom, compiler errors go away. Login View, we can now use this. And then since we've tested it, we can just get rid of all of this extra code. Okay, so we just get rid of all of that. Save this. And so we've simplified this a little bit. So if you want to use this type of stuff for updating your own logic, this is how I like to work in both UIKit and SwiftUI. I basically create computed properties for the different attributes. And I'm able to just simplify the code. You could do the same thing for the secure field if you want to on some of the common things that we could move around, like this tap gesture dealing with this content layout and stuff like that. Just hiding some of those implementation details so that we don't need to see them at the top level just makes this view a little bit shorter. So now we're down to less lines of code. This is iOS 18 only. I'm just going to take this out because I was testing this on my iPhone and it won't work there in Xcode 15. So I just took that out. Hope this was helpful. If you like this, comment down below, hit the like button, and then I do have the sample code. So if you want to get this final version or if you want to get the starter project, I'm going to commit those changes and upload them and put them here. So just enter your email address and I'll send that over to you. And I'll see you in my next video, which is going to be how to hide unwanted output on the console. So right now we've got a lot of text output that is taking over our console. We can't see our own messages. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to deal with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.